This video is the first of a number of videos which is about logarithms. So the learning objective is I will learn how to rewrite calculations involving powers using logarithms so that I can solve equations where x is the power. So write that down, then I'll explain what logarithms actually are. So put simply, you've been learning about exponential functions all this week, where you have something to the power of x equal to something else. Logarithms are the inverse of exponentials. So in the same way as square rooting is the inverse of squaring, or adding is the inverse of subtracting, a logarithm is the inverse of an exponential. In everyday language, what it means is it's a different way of writing something where we have something to the power equal to something else. So I can rewrite this calculation, a to the power of x equals n, using a logarithm. The way that I write it is I write log, which is short for logarithm. The logarithm of n with base a is equal to x. So what that means is this number is the base. This number is the answer, and this is the power. So you can see we can use logarithms to figure out what the power is when the power is otherwise unknown. So for example, if we were told that 9 to the power of something equaled 30, we could rewrite this as log of what? Think to yourself, think about how you would rewrite this question. Pause the video and write it in. So because the base is 9, we write log with base 9 of 30 be equal to x. And we can use a calculator to figure that out. But this video, we're going to get on to how to solve equations later on. But this video is all about just practicing the process of rewriting these as logarithms. As you can see from the learning objective, it's about rewriting. So let's first of all look at example number 6. Given what I've already talked about, you're probably able already to write these as logarithms. So I want you to have a go now, pause the video, and rewrite each of these a, b, and c as logarithms. Okay, so for a, you can see that the base is 3. So we write log with base 3 of 9 is equal to 2. That just means that 3 squared equals 9. For b, we can see the base in this case is 2. The answer is 128, and so therefore the power is 7. And for c, we can see that the base is 64. The answer is 8, and the power is a half. That's all this is asking you to do, is rewrite these calculations as logarithms. So if you got that right, give yourself a tick. But if you weren't sure, maybe rewatch the start of this video so that it makes sense to you. We have to be very clear about this before we can move on. So this time, example 7, it's asking you to do the reverse. It's giving you the logarithm and it's asking you to rewrite it as a power. So pause the video and have a go at this now. Hopefully, it's just a fairly simple process. If you've got log of base 3 with the answer is 81, that means the power is 4. So we write 3 to the power of 4 equals 81. And we know that that's true because 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 81. For b, the base is 2, the power is negative 3 because that is the answer in the logarithm. And that is equal to 1 over 8. So hopefully that wasn't too difficult. Again, if you're not clear about this, you may need to rewatch the beginning of the video. So example 8 is starting to actually make you maybe think a little bit more. It says, without using a calculator, find the value of each of these. So I want you to pause the video and have a go. Press play when you're ready for me to go through it. So for question A, log of 81 with base 3, that's how you say it, the log of 81 with base 3 is the same as 3 to the power of something equals 81. So for the time being, we're not using a calculator because that's what the question is telling us. It's asking us to not use a calculator to see if we actually understand what's going on here. And hopefully, because we've already looked at it, you know that 3 to the power of 4 is 81. And so the way we're going to write this is we write the logarithm that we're given and we say what it's equal to. For B, log of 0.25 with base 4, I'm going to rewrite this so that it's log of a quarter with base 4 because that's a little bit easier to understand. In other words, 4 to the power of what makes a quarter? Hopefully you know that 4 to the power of -1 makes a quarter. So that's the answer. For C, we're asked to find log of 4 with base 0.5. And again, I'm going to write the 0.5 as a fraction because I'm more comfortable doing powers with fractions. So it's log of 4 with base a half. In other words, a half to the power of what makes 4? If you want to write it in terms of that, half to the power of what makes 4? Well, I'm thinking if I square it, that will give me 1 over 4. So that's not right. I want it to be the inverse of that. So half to the power of -2 would give me 4. So therefore the answer is -2. Finally, D, I'll do it down here. Logarithm of a to the power of 5 with base a. That's basically saying a to the power of what equals a to the power of 5. Don't overcomplicate it. A to the power of 5 is equal to a to the power of 5. Just to be really clear about that, you could have rewritten it a to the power of what is the same as a to the power of 5. Obviously this must just be 5. So if you need to rewatch any of that so that it makes more sense, if you didn't quite follow it first time round, again, this is one of those things that it's not actually very difficult, but you need to practice it to become fluent in understanding it. So the final one of these examples from exercise 14D, which is what you're going to be doing today, is we're going to use the calculator to find the following logarithms to 3 decimal places. So unfortunately my calculator emulator isn't working, but I'm just going to do it explain how to do this using pictures. So if this is your calculator over here, and you've got it just turned on with nothing else going on yet, to find log of 40 with base 3, we're going to press this button here on the calculator. So you can see this log button, and it's got then 2 little bars next to it. That's for the base and for the actual log that we're finding. That is what we press. When you press that, you get a screen like this. All you have to do to calculate log of 40 with base 3 is you type in 3 into that little box there and 40 into the box in the brackets there. So I'm going to do that now on my calculator. and I get 3.3577. But it's asking to 3 decimal places, so I do 3.358. What that means is 3, the base, to the power of 3.358 gives us 40. And you could check that if you typed into a calculator 3 to the power of answer, and when you press equals, it will equal 40. So I want you to pause the video and have a go at doing that for the other 2 questions for parts B and C. Press play when you're ready for me to tell you the answers. So for part B, there's nothing more I need to say other than that the answer is 2.079. And for part C, the answer is 1.875. And that's it. Good luck with exercise 14D. You're going to do every question. And obviously, as always, just email us if you have any questions. Bye.